All right, let's jump right in. When you think about cybersecurity, you probably picture firewalls, maybe some complicated encryption software. But what if I told you that the strongest security tool any organization has isn't technology at all? It's the culture. And that culture, for better or for worse, is set right from the very top.
Take a look at this number, 82%. So what do you think that is? Well, it's the percentage of all data breaches that involve a human element. That's right, in 4 out of every 5 successful attacks, the trail leads back to a person. Somebody made a mistake, or fell for a scam, or just used a weak password. It's proof that people, not our machines, have become the #1 target for attackers.
So, this brings us to a really critical point. If people are the biggest vulnerability, then they also have to become our strongest defense. And building that human shield, that's not just a job for the IT department, it's a leadership imperative. We're going to break down exactly why the single most important factor in cybersecurity is the example set at the very top of an organization. You've probably heard the phrase in business, the tone at the top. Well, for cybersecurity, that couldn't be more true. The attitude and the behavior of the leadership team literally dictate how the entire organization is going to view and prioritize security. If they take it seriously, you can bet everyone else will too. But what does a cybersecurity culture actually look like? I mean, what is that? It's not just putting a poster up in the break room, you know? It's the absolute bedrock of any modern defense strategy. Let's just define it real clear. A cybersecurity culture is all about the shared values and habits that decide how everyone, from the newest intern all the way up to the CEO, approaches security day to day. It's creating an environment where every single person feels personally responsible for protecting the company's data. It's not a checklist, it's a mindset. And think about it, right? You could have the most advanced, most expensive security tech in the entire world, but it all becomes kind of useless if the people using it aren't security conscious. It just takes one wrong click to bypass millions of dollars in defenses. Okay, so we know culture starts from the top. But, there's actually a much more dangerous reason that leaders need to be so involved. Attackers are coming for them. Specifically, they are the prime targets. And why is that? Well, it's because they offer the biggest return on investment for a hacker. Executives literally hold the keys to the kingdom. They've got access to the most sensitive data, they have the authority to greenlight huge wire transfers, and, this is a big one, they can often override the very security controls meant to protect the company. This is so common that it actually has its own name, whaling. Now, unlike regular old fishing that kind of casts a wide net hoping to catch anyone, whaling is like a precision strike. Attackers do their homework. They research their high-value targets to create these incredibly convincing, personalized emails designed to trick the biggest fish in the corporate sea. And the stakes here are just enormous. Let's take the toy giant Mattel. A top finance executive got a fake email that looked like it was from the company's brand new CEO, asking for a wire transfer. They almost lost $3 million. And you know the only thing that stopped it? The transfer was requested on a bank holiday in China. That's it, pure luck. But not every company gets that lucky. Ubiquity Networks fell for a really similar CEO fraud scheme, where attackers perfectly faked executive communications. The result wasn't a near miss, it was a staggering $46 million loss. This just goes to show you how devastating a single mistake at the top can truly be. So, okay, we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. The big question is, what's the solution? Well, it all comes down to leaders shifting from being a target to being the example by actively and visibly championing a security-first culture. A leader's actions just send such a powerful signal. When they're seen committing to security, it stops being some abstract policy on a piece of paper, and it becomes a real, shared value for the whole company. So, how do you actually do that? It's about taking real action. First, you participate in the exact same security training as everyone else. No excuses, no exceptions. Second, you follow all the rules, even the ones that are kind of inconvenient. Third, you have to talk about security openly, like in team meetings. And fourth, you reward and recognize people who show good security habits. It's not about what you say, it's about modeling the behavior you want to see. And the ripple effect here is just massive. I mean, on one side, you've got disengaged leaders. That creates a lax culture where security is just another checkbox to tick. But on the other side, engaged leaders create a culture of collective responsibility, where security becomes a core value. The difference is really night and day. This brings us to the final and maybe the most important way to look at this whole issue. A leader's involvement in cybersecurity shouldn't be seen as a burden or just a risk. When you do it right, it actually becomes the organization's single most powerful security asset. And you can actually measure the impact. There's a pretty simple but profound truth here. Good awareness training dramatically reduces your risk. When an entire organization, led from the top, is trained to spot threats, the number of successful attacks just plummets. In fact, comprehensive security awareness training can cut the risk of an incident by as much as 70%. That is a huge return on investment. It proves that educating your people isn't just an expense, it's one of the smartest security decisions a company can make. At the end of the day, the payoff is just huge. When you have engaged leaders, you get smarter governance, you get policies that are actually followed, you see a measurable drop in risk, and, most importantly, you get a resilient culture where security is baked right into the company's DNA. So let's end on this thought. Because they're a prime target, it's easy to see leadership as a liability. But by being a prime example, leadership transforms into the organization's ultimate security advantage, and that choice is in their hands.
And that leaves us with one final question for every leader out there to think about. When it comes to your organization's security, are you the weakest link or are you the strongest shield?